But we are super succeeding because we are used to working from home, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it has been challenging though. I mean, I want to hear from everybody else. I mean, and hopefully somebody will post on the NMSN page, or Rihanna, can you post on NMSN that we're over
Yes.
at Instagram?
Yep.
And maybe Trish or Melissa could post on the NMSN members page that we're over on Instagram so people can join us. But no, I mean, I just wanted to check in and see how everybody's doing working from home, because of course everybody now has a challenge of having to share space with their children and potentially their spouse. And I don't know about you guys, but I mean, this is for the birds. I'm over it. Like, I'm so over it. You know, like dogs popping in for, you know, Zoom calls and having to jerry rig backdrops to, you know, do Zoom calls. Our house is a mess, and it's, you know, and I don't know how long you guys are having to quarantine, but Virginia, we're in here until June 10th at least. So just the thought that we're only a third of the way into it, it's a little daunting. I don't know. Tell us in the comments how you guys are doing with your self-quarantining. I have a feeling some people are more successful than others. I mean, I see Trish with her pictures with her kids, and she's still having a lot of fun, and they're still doing crafts and everything.
I will say the kids have been, while it's a new and sometimes difficult aspect of it, they have been a welcome distraction at
Yeah.
times. So Melissa's saying they're at April 30th for their quarantine. But what I've noticed is that a lot of the states like Georgia and even California and other states like that, what they've been doing is they've been doing short increments. Whereas here in Virginia, they're just like, nope, that's it. Just June 10th.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard. I mean, everybody has their own challenges to bear. And for us, our challenge is that we have an adult son. And so that means, you know, no, we don't get to see him. And that's tough. I mean, I think everybody has their own challenges, and wow, wouldn't want to walk a mile in anybody else's shoes, because like just our shoes are tough enough. I mean, I'm just,
I know.
you know, the anxiety that comes with being so far away from loved ones. And I know all of us have adult parents. I mean, adult parents have like older parents that we're all worried about.
Yes.
So it's like that sandwich generation, right? We're having to worry about our children and our parents.
I know, tables are turning. We're now yelling at our parents, like,
To
stay
stay
in.
inside.
My mom FaceTimed me this morning because her phone battery finally died, and she was like, "Yeah, I have to like go out." And I was like, "No, you don't. No,
we'll FedEx it to you."
I'm like, no, because my mom had breast cancer, and I was like, nope, you're not going out. Nope. So I'm seeing some hinting of some fall winter closures for school too.
Here, I can see
I'm
that.
just gonna go cry for a second.
Yeah.
Hold me.
But I mean, your kids, I mean, yours and Trish's kids, they seem to be very well adjusted, you know, because at least we all have the luxury of yards, you know,
Yes.
like you guys both, and
Yes.
we have yards. So at least our dog isn't going to go crazy because she
Yeah.
can go sit outside and bark at passerbyers.
She's just going to eat bees while you're trying to do a
Well,
meeting.
it's really funny though. I think she is actually depressed. Like, I think our dog is
Yeah.
actually depressed. I think a lot of the pets are, because they're used to seeing people.
Mhm.
And, you know, they're used to being outside a lot more, so they don't understand what's going on. And she doesn't understand why when she goes out for walks, there's hardly anybody out there.
I know.
So
And her little friend, Sue's dog, has a committee of children that get off the school bus and come and visit. And Sue is like the neighborhood lady who like gives them cookies and is so amazing. I want to move there for my kids. And now they don't have that.
Yeah, she misses her posse. Her posse misses her. Like they, you know, we can see them from their driveways, and they're yelling, "Hi, Momo!" Oh. And Momo's like, "Come closer," but no.
Now, Sue, are you working at home with Kevin at all? Because I know that he is a pilot.
Yeah, so he is not flying right now. The airlines are, you know, it's a tough time for the airlines.
Yes.
And so he took leave.
Okay.
And, so he'll not fly for the next month or a while, right? They've asked for to take elective leave. And then he has another job. So he's been doing that job. And so we've split the house. I mean, like, tell us in your comments, like, how's it working at your house? I don't know how you and Christopher, I guess Christopher's still going to work,
Yes.
physically going to work.
Yes.
But like for us, we split the house. So I get the kitchen table, which is where I used to work anyway.
Yes.
And then I still have my office upstairs, but then Kevin has a dining room table. So it's staged with all his screens and, you know,
Gotcha.
the only strange thing is when we have to do conference calls, because apparently we both have a lot of conference calls. And I love that meme about how, you know, you didn't realize you were married to the circle back guy or whatever until you have to listen to them do conference calls. Apparently I'm married to let me screaming into the screen because surely they can't hear me if they can't see me kind of guy. So
it's like when your parents first use FaceTime and they open it up and the screen is like this up in there.
Or you're looking at their nostrils. Yeah.
Well, so Christopher is mission essential. So he's going into his contracting job, his government contracting job. But they're talking activation for him. Now, he's technically a Nevada Air Guardsman, but DC wants him.
Oh, so better. So he doesn't have to fly out to Nevada.
Yeah, they
support the Nevada mission. Yeah.
Yes. So he may be activated here locally. So he pulled out all his uniforms and my heart was like, hi, what you doing?
You know, scream at me. I'm going to touch my eyes.
You know, military spouses, when we see them pull out their uniforms and suitcases, you're like, what's going on?
What's going on? How long is this one going to be? Yeah, no.
So let's see. Yeah, Trish is sharing the kitchen and the dining room. And she keeps a little corner of her office. But yeah, so Trish, our friend here, she's a photographer. So, you know, I know a lot of military spouses that do businesses that are very dependent on human interaction. And while all of our businesses at some point, and Sue's going to talk about this in a little bit, that human interaction is key for a lot of businesses. But for artists and things like that, and restaurants, this has been especially difficult because that human interaction
like went away overnight almost.
Yes. Yeah. We have friends who are stylists who can no longer go to people's houses and do stuff like that. So, but it has also spawned a lot of creativity, which
it has.
We are famously known for, right? We're going to figure it out. And no matter what, we're going to make it happen. So let's transition a little bit into what is coming up for NMSN. Give us a little, hi guys, everyone's joining. Give us a little tidbit of where we're kind of going, what you can expect, because we are famous for all of our events, right?
Yeah.
And so our events are having to transition a little bit, but that's not going to stop us from them being awesome. So
I love that Semper Gumby.
Yep.
Flexibility, speed, air power, all of it, right? Embracing all of it. So I wanted to speak to what you said earlier about adapting, and I have seen that a lot in the military spouse community and our civilian community too, where, you know, photographers and realtors, you're still having to show houses. So we've been seeing a lot more virtual house tours. Yep. And so I know that a lot of photographers and videographers, Trish, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know a lot of them are doing more of those to where it is still socially distancing because they're going into these houses when there's nobody there. Yes. And the feedback I hear is just be safe. Like if you're going into an empty house, of course, not an issue. But some of our photographer, videographer friends, realtor friends are more anxious when they have to go into a home that's like a hoarder's home or something. And they're like, oh, there's so much stuff. You can tell, you know, it's not that clean. So, I mean, everybody's just learning how to be smart and doing things differently. But before we move on to what NMSN is doing, I want to encourage everybody to go and look at the CARES Act and look at the PPP loans. The reason I tell you that is because we posted some articles on NMSN and we're looking into it now. But those loans are loans, but they are also forgivable, which means that if you spend the money on personnel, you get forgiven that amount of money. So please, 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 if you even think, actually, no, even if you don't think you're eligible for it, read the articles, read up on it, because you might be surprised. You may be eligible for it. And this is not money that they're going to knock on your door and give you. You have to request it. So if you do nothing else today, do me a favor. If you own a small business, even if you don't think you're eligible for it, read the articles we posted on NMSN. They're from Forbes, they're from Entrepreneur. They do a breakdown. Go to the FAQ page and really take a look and see if you're eligible, because it is a really wide blanket. I mean, a lot of people are eligible for it because that NMSN will be eligible for it. So please, 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 if you do nothing else, that's money back in your pocket, and that will allow you to keep your contractors and subcontractors working. So that's what we want to do right now is, contribute to people still working in this economy. So go look at it, go see if those loans are eligible for you, and let's see if we can't keep our military spouses and our other contractors working. Okay, I'm off
And
my platform now.
I think I just want to toot our own horn a little bit. We are super committed over here at NMSN to really being an advocate for military spouses. And I think this opportunity to then pass that forward to our civilian counterparts, and a lot of our families that are involved with our organization kind of sit on both sides as guardsmen and reservists, and or people who are retired. And I think that we are just, Sue, you're really knowledgeable about this stuff, and we are really committed to sharing all that on our Facebook page. So if you're not following us on Facebook, or if you know someone who could really benefit from that, this would be the time to come and
Yeah.
join us, because we are diligently working every day to share excellent content to encourage you and to support you. So that is what we're here for.
So that is a great segue to what we're doing next. So of course, with the advent of the pandemic, it changed everything we're doing, right? So all of our events we were going to have in the spring to celebrate our 10-year anniversary and storming for military spouse appreciation, it's kind of gone virtual. We made a tough call to take storming virtual. At first we thought we'll do a virtual component and then we'll have a physical component later on when everybody's released. But you know what? When everybody's released and everybody can travel, we want you to travel. We want you to hang out with your family. We want you to spend the time with your loved ones. You don't need to be storming the hill. You don't, you need to get back to living. So we decided we're just going to keep it virtual in May, on May 8th, on Military Spouse Appreciation Day. I think it's a really great opportunity for us to step up in our roles as servant leaders. The military spouse unemployment rate is 24%, but they said that the unemployment rate nationwide is going to go to about 30% in the second quarter. And I think that's probably a conservative estimate. It's probably going to be even higher. And so what I want everyone to know is we are still looking out for military spouse unemployment. We are still looking at what kind of implications this has, because of course there's going to be a cascading effect. If the unemployment rate nationwide goes up 10 times, I imagine it's going to have some sort of reflection in the military spouse unemployment rate. So we're watching it. We're still working behind the scenes with our advocates to keep their eyes and their attention and their policies on military spouse employment and like making sure military spouses have opportunities. But I think the bigger opportunity right now is to share how we mitigate unemployment, unemployment every time we PCS with our civilian counterparts. They're hurting. They need help. For a lot of them, this may be the first time they're experiencing that fear of people being so far away and not being able to hug, touch loved ones whenever they want, or else they're not able to control the situation, right? A lot of things are out of their control. They have a lot of fear. They have a lot of anxiety. They have a lot of stress. And I know as I say that, all the military spouses on this feed are thinking, hi, welcome to my life with every deployment. So the great thing about that is we've come up with a lot of coping skills that I hope that we'll continue to share with our civilian community, because they will develop those coping skills. But if we could help them along the way and maybe give them some of our best practices and be patient with them, we can help them along a little bit further. And this is where every single one of us has the opportunity to lead within our communities, whether it's your church community, your school community, or just your neighborhood. Like, you have skills that you can share, and you have a wealth of information in terms of how to maintain your calmness, like easy tips like, hey, we live in a 24/7 news cycle. Turn off the TV every once in a while. Go outside. Even if it's to the front or backyard, just go outside. And then when you figure out what you can control, let the rest of it go, because you can obsess about it and drive yourself crazy. But it's going to be a lot more meaningful if you can find some peace, because then you have to go and you have to, you have to share that piece with your family, right? Because your kids are depending on you, your family's depending on you. So I think it's going to be, this is a real opportunity for people to rise up and lead and heal their communities. And I think I'm getting teary, but I think like military spouses, this is what we do, right? Like,
yes.
this is where we function so well in crisis. At my school, our motto is Festina Lente, is make haste slowly. So we are very familiar with making haste slowly. We're very familiar with the waiting game. And for a lot of Americans, though, they're not used to being told to stay inside for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
Or, you know, they're not used to being told, period. But with military spouses, we're so used to being dictated to that none of this is really a surprise to us. We're like, oh, okay, one more thing we can't do, big deal, right? This too shall come. This
Mm-hmm.
we shall overcome this as well. So we really want to, if you have an opportunity to share how you guys have gone, you know, gotten over that hump of unemployment blues, share it with your friends, because I know that you probably have been touched by this, and you probably have multiple people you know who've lost their jobs. Remind them to look out for their resources. Remind them to look for their resources at the state, local, and federal levels and see what they're eligible for. And even if they haven't lost their jobs, remind them to keep their resumes up to date, update their LinkedIn, because they don't know when they're going to need it, right? So all those tools and resources that you use every time you PCS, share it with your civilian friends. Like this military spouse resiliency, as Melissa says, I mean, like we count on it, right? So now take everything you've learned and share it externally. You know, do it passively, do it in your Facebook page. Like we do such a great job of sharing crap on Facebook all the time. Share something meaningful, like share these tips and start putting out proactive things, because I think the world is scared right now. And, you know, I think a lot of our civilian friends are terrified. Like they don't know what's going to happen. Where's their next paycheck going to
Yeah.
come from? There are plenty of places sharing news about COVID-19. Let's start sharing news about how to help them get back on their feet. I think this is where NMSN is headed. We're looking at ways to support our communities, ways to help them with their resources, and we're trying to figure out ways to mitigate their fears about unemployment, right? We're sharing tips about, you know, getting onto these freelancing platforms. And like I said, we're still committed to keeping everybody employed. At NMSN, we haven't let anyone go. We work with a lot of freelancers and contractors. We're committed to upholding all those contracts. We are going to continue hiring freelancers for our projects. We're going to continue making projects. Like we're creating work. And I think if you're in a position to do so, do so. But whatever we can do, I just look at the military spouse community and I am totally comfortable saying this. I think we're all helpers and I think we're all doers. And
Yeah.
you know, it's time for us to step up. Yes, military spouse unemployment sucks and it's high. The nation's going to have a higher unemployment rate and we can help.
Yes.
Um,
I wanted to jump in and say that in my neighborhood community, there are not a lot of other military spouses. And what I've noticed the most of what they're struggling with the most seems to be the canceling and the changing of plans constantly. And I know as a military spouse, that is always a disappointment and it's always a frustration. But I think that kind of grief process that people are going through with things being changed and moved, especially for kids who are not military kids, I think we underestimate the resiliency of sometimes our military kids and then how their trauma affects us as the adults in their house. And I know not everyone on here has kids, but I feel like this sort of thought process can still be relevant to you even if you don't have kids. You don't realize how the struggles and trauma of someone else in your life, your empathy, you can take that on, and empathy stress is a real thing. And so
yeah.
I
And
think
also to what Melissa was saying about the kids, and you know, you're in survival mode. I think, you know, with parents, with small kids out there, parents with kids, anybody actually,
yeah.
I think one of the things we can share is that we're all in survival mode here. No one's in a competition. And so I had written something and I said, you know, if Karen down the street is, you know, just rocking at homeschooling, good for her. If you're not doing so well, who cares? It's not
Yes.
a competition. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be an adjustment period, and we all go through it at different rates. Mm-hmm. And you know, you're not here to thrive right now. You're here to survive.
Yes.
And when you get past the survival stage, great. Let's start looking at thriving. But right now, we're all in survival mode, and you need to be a little bit kind to yourself. I remember with deployments, I felt like if the only time I cried was when I was in the shower, I was doing well. I was going to mark that up as a win, right? I mean, I'm like, if I didn't cry in front of my kid that day, I'm winning at life. You know, so I mean, the threshold for success goes down, and that's normal. And I kind of don't think, and I kind of think that's one of the things our civilian friends don't understand. I think they think that they're failures if they don't succeed at their normal success. And I'm like, no, all things go out the window in a situation like this, and you just go into survival mode.
You cleaned your bathroom, you win.
Oh, you
You,
more than win. You more than win. Because
right?
I'm like, oh
You,
God.
you send one email. Good job.
Yeah.
I know we had a couple other people join us. If you want to share how you guys are doing your work from home, we'd love to see that in the comments. So we are doing our storming virtually.
Yes. So we need to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
talk a little bit about
digress.
what that's going to look like.
So we have an entire Storm the Hill committee, and they've been working at it. And so we've kind of pivoted our Storm the Hill, where it was going to be talking about the need for more transparency around SOFA and more transparency around taxation issues for military spouses and service members as they're stationed overseas, because we're really working this year on working through retaining spouses through a PCS overseas. We are still doing that. However, because we're taking it virtually, we're going to host everything online on Zoom. So in the morning, we will have a focus group on transition. And then, for people who are within 2 years of transition, either about to go through transition or having already transitioned, we hope you'll volunteer to serve on that committee. That'd be amazing. Focus group. And then from 11 to 1, we'll have the Storm the Hill training. And then we'll teach you how to find your legislators, how to contact your legislators, and how to thank, like what we're thanking them for. And then in the afternoon, we're going to have a focus group on military spouse entrepreneurship. Our thought with the focus groups, because once we had our first roundtable with congressional staffers, there was a lot of feedback. One from the House Veterans Affairs Committee, the Personnel Subcommittee, talking about transition. And then we also met with the Senate Small Business Entrepreneurship and Small Business Committee, and they were really committed to military spouse entrepreneurship. So we thought that we could have focus groups on those two issues so we could take feedback to those committees. So our intent is to invite them if they're unable to make it because they're a little busy. We will take all the feedback and send it back to them. And of course, we'll keep dialoguing with them. But in the center, when we have our Storm the Hill, which I hope you will all sign up for, we will teach you how to storm. We will teach you how to figure out if your legislators are supportive of military spouse initiatives, what they have supported, and if they haven't, we'll teach you how to say, hey, I'm one of your constituents. I hope that we can count on your support for these initiatives, and this is why. It's an opportunity for us to flip the script on military spouse appreciation and do some appreciation ourselves, to send out some thanks and gratitude to the people who support us throughout the year. We hope you'll join us for that. And as Trish says, this is really great training for civic engagement because our military spouses are engaged, and we're just looking for a way for them to focus their engagement. I think for spouses, I would say it's 2 hours of your day on Military Spouse Appreciation Day. I think whenever you go through a deployment or anything else or something like this, it's easy to not celebrate your milestones because you're like, we can't go anywhere. Why celebrate? Celebrate it anyway. So maybe you can't go to the Spouse of the Year event. You can't go to your volunteer appreciation luncheon that your installation will put on for you. Spend it with us. Let's spend it with some military spouses doing great work. And selfishly, I think it'll be a way for us to give back to everybody, to kind of keep them engaged and to let us know that we appreciate you on Military Spouse Appreciation Day. But I think more importantly, it's important for us to tell our civilian community that we appreciate you, we appreciate your support. And we know that in light of the civilian unemployment rate coming up, you don't have to support us, and we appreciate you keeping your eye on the prize for us,
Well, what I think is really awesome about this, and it's kind of making me a little bit more, I was already excited, but I think what's making me even more excited is this is opening up a very large opportunity for spouses who are not here locally. Normally, you have to come out here and hang out with us. Right. But now you can learn how to do this in your own state, anywhere.
Right.
And I think that's amazing.
We're going to teach them how to either call or email their legislators. And really, the reason we pick one date to do it, the reason we pick like one time to do it is because you send one email, do one phone call. It's kind of like a drop in a bucket, right? It's kind of a drop, it's like bottomless well, and it doesn't make a difference. But if they're getting emails and phone calls from people from around the country, around the world on the same day at the same time, they're like, what's going on here? What's this hashtag, Storm the Hill? Why is everybody talking about military spouse unemployment today? Then it creates a groundswell. So there's civic engagement 101. Like if you all do it on the same time, at the same date, then it creates a groundswell and they have to pay attention.
That's a grassroots effort right there.
That's a grassroots effort. So, I mean, I know we've gone past half an hour and it's been a really long time, and I don't want to like bore anybody. So, I mean, put in your comments if you have any questions for us, right, Rihanna? I mean,
Yes, please. And
yeah.
I will, this is going to be saved on here. And then I will actually probably end up loading this onto our YouTube and also onto our Facebook. So that way you guys can share it with your friends in an easier way. Instagram does make it hard to share lives for a long period of time. But if this is on our YouTube and on our Facebook, we can continue the conversation there. Drop your comments underneath the videos, and soon I will, help you find what you need.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, I can, we can answer them now. We'd love to answer them now. We'd love to be engaged. So I see that Amanda's
I guess I
showing
could
us
clear my
more.
schedule. I could clear my schedule for you.
I have a little bit of time. I know. It's so funny when people are like, are you available for a call? I'm like, yeah, when? Now? 3 o'clock in the morning? Sure, whatever. Yeah, whatever you need.
I'm like, what's sleep? What day is it? The only reason I know it's Wednesday or Friday is because my kids have their Zoom classes on Wednesday or Friday. That's the only reason I know it's a Wednesday or Friday. The other days I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And like, I have a phone call at 2 and my whole fear is, oh my gosh, when I actually have something on the calendar, I'm terrified I'm going to miss it. Well, I don't think anybody has any questions. So
no, I don't think so.
Up here. I really appreciate you guys joining us. Rihanna, thanks so much for doing this. And thanks for being patient, you guys. Facebook was a bust. Trish says that they've been having problems with Facebook Live lately, probably because of capacity.
Yes, I think so. I think that's
what's going on. McLean just joined. Hi, McLean.
Hi, McLean. But you know what? We can always jump over here on Instagram and then we can repost it on Facebook. So, this is the epitome of being flexible, right?
Yeah, flexibility is key to air power.
So thank you guys so much for joining us. Give us a little bit for this video to upload to both Facebook and YouTube, and it's going to stay on here. So share in your stories with your friends to come on over. Make sure you tag us. The hashtag for the storming is going to be hashtag NMSN storms. So just keep that in the back of your head as you're getting ready to go. It was so amazing to see all of you, and we look forward to seeing more of you. Like I said on Facebook, we're hopefully planning on doing some more coffee talks with you guys. So
and please, please, please be kind to yourselves. Just take it easy. And if you need anything, just message us. If we can help you with some of your business resources, give us suggestions on what kind of resources you want to see us post on the page. We're